Marcy Bullock with part 2 of our Gallup Strength Finder interpretation. So I want to just explain to you this notion of we are looking at optimal human functioning, and we're focusing on happiness and our personal potential and greatest satisfaction. We're not focusing on fixing what doesn't work. We're focusing on amplifying what does work. So as we think about it, remember, we can't do everything perfectly. We're not going to be good, and it's not going to come natural for us to do all these things extremely well. But we are actually focusing on the things we do well, and that's a good thing. So know who you are and who you aren't. This is such a great assessment to help us talk to other people, to listen to other people, and to understand what makes everyone unique. So tell your boss, tell your coworkers, tell your advisors, explain who you are. Put it on your LinkedIn profile. Even think about, if I see you in the brickyard and we're 6 feet away talking, I'm going to say, what are your strengths? I want to hear you be able to rattle them off. And also think about how combining your strengths can help you create new ones. So we've got this whole idea of the 4 domains of leadership. So now we're taking all 34 strengths on this slide. If you look at this slide, you can find your top 5, and you can see how many of your top 5 are in the executing, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking. So just kind of make a note of that right now. Well, I've got 1 or 2 in executing. I've got 3 in strategic. Maybe you have all 5 in one area. This is what you want to identify at this point, because we are taking an umbrella and grouping all 34 strengths and saying, now, what is your leadership domain? So you may have a combination, you may have multiple. So starting off with the people in the executing, if you had 1 or more in that category, they know how to make things happen, implement a solution, and work tirelessly to get it done. So we often call them the doers. If you had 1 or more in influencing, you would be the person to help your team reach a much broader audience. They are able to sell the ideas within and outside the organization. Relationship building, which is my theme, is the glue that holds the team together. They can create groups that are greater than the sum of their parts. You can see how all these are so important in an organization. And then finally, strategic thinking. These are the people who within our organizations keep focused on what could be. They're constantly strategizing, analyzing information, looking at things from different perspectives, and helping the team make better decisions. So as we think about those top 4, again, reminding ourselves that we could be a combination of different ones in our opportunities to lead. Know in your next interview that you want to explain that you're a strategic thinker, because that can help your hiring manager to see the value that you bring to the organization. We also have barrier labels and shadow sides. So when my communication is at its peak and it is 100% doing what it should do, I am not in a shadow side, or we often call a balcony. So for example, you can be seen with belief as being narrow-minded or losing sight of others' opinion if you go into the shadow or the balcony. The balcony is actually the good part. The basement is the negative part. So when we're at our best with belief, we have these strong beliefs. We are in the balcony, it is shining. But when we slip down into the basement, that's where we see with adaptability, people could perceive us as being lazy. With ideation in the basement, we could be seen as the dreamer. And with communication, for me, I have often been told to maybe just dial it down a little bit. So what I want you to think about on this slide is understanding the positives and the negatives, understanding how another person could be perceiving you. And realize if you get in that basement that you can be aware of it and move out of the basement. So you might think about a time when someone judged you based on a barrier label or a shadow side, or we also call that the basement. Again, when we're in the basement, our whole idea is to get out and get into the balcony. So I'm going to show you a screen share of what our Gallup Strengths website looks like. Now I've moved off the PowerPoint to show you if you go to ncsu.gallup.com, you can log in. This is the NC State site. So I have just gone in and logged into that. And this is the page that you will see for yourself. So you will see your top 5. You'll be able to learn more about any one of those top 5 and also watch a video about yourself. So this is the part where you really want to dig in to learn. You're going to be scrolling down and listening and learning about everything on this page for all of your top 5. So I love the videos in here. Also, I have reports on the right-hand side. So if I wanted to, I could download a report and I could read more about myself in my signature theme report. It's all customized to you. So we encourage everyone to be thinking about reading these reports. You can print a certificate, you can look at an action plan, and if you decide to unlock all of your Gallup strengths, you can view all 34, but that does require you to pay some money, so you don't necessarily need to do that. We can also create action plans here, and we can look at groups, and I'm not a member of a group yet, and we can look at resources. This is, I could teach a whole class on Gallup Strengths, so much to learn. But what I want you to remember when you're on your home screen is that, for example, if you and I both had WOO, my WOO paragraph on Learn More is going to look different than yours because I have 4 other strengths that are combined with mine. So they customize all of this for you. The other web link that I like to show is, I'm just going to type in Gallup basements and balconies, and it's coming right up. And this is the site where I told you it's just good to realize that you can fall into what we call the basement. And so when we zoom in on this, you can just go into Google and read about yourself. And you can see when I'm at my best with consistency, I am in the balcony. I am just a problem solver, a policymaker. But when I slip into consistency, basement, I get really by the book. I'm not flexible. I'm unwilling to customize and individualize. You can see this with each one of these. And I think it's really interesting. I'm going to scroll down to positivity. So I love positivity. It's in my top 10. It's an enthusiastic, energetic, optimistic person. But other people may see that really differently. They might say, you're really not genuine. I think you're just superficial and naive. So when I'm aware of how other people can see me, that will help me to improve my ability to know how to maximize my strengths. So those are your part 1 and part 2 on Gallup's strengths.